A little housekeeping before we go any farther. I got a pair of glasses that somebody lost, but if they're yours, well, come tap me on the shoulder and I'll get them for you. We were talking about, or they were talking about the SPP. I want to remind you that our president, the president of Mexico, the Prime Minister of Canada are meeting in New Orleans on April the 21st for another round of their special SPP meeting. So if any of you have a little time that weekend, you might want to go to New Orleans and let them know what you think about it. We've got a Texas turf booth over here in the shade. For those of you who haven't signed our petition to stop the corridor, we'd appreciate that. We'd also appreciate if you put your email on there, because that's how we can communicate with you. And one other announcement that was asked of me, the Constitution Party is here today. Sel Drummiller, they're trying to get on the ballot for the November election, so they're passing petitions around and things like that for those of you who are interested. The next guy I want to introduce is one of our own state legislators, and I think he's out in the crowd somewhere, so he can start making his way up. You know, well, never mind, he's behind me. You know, people have asked me all day today, and they've asked me over the last week or two in preparing for this, well, is my legislator going to be there and speak today? And regretfully, I've had to tell a lot of them no. And, you know, traveling up and down the 69 corridor for the TTC meetings, I actually saw more state legislators this time than we ever saw up and down the 35 corridor for those hearings. And a lot of them actually came out, you know, in their remarks in the corridor hearings and told the people what they did for them in this last session, you know, and that they were going to come back in January and do it all over again. And I hope, I tried to visit with every one of them that made that kind of statement, and I hope that they don't come back here in January and do what they did last time. You know, because we had a terrible piece of legislation passed in the last session. A couple of really good pieces of legislation, HB 2006, which would have ultimately been the best eminent domain bill in the United States, and was overwhelmingly passed here, and Governor 39% vetoed it. We also passed a very good transportation bill, HB 1892, that passed overwhelmingly in both houses. Only 5 dissenting votes, 1 in the Senate, 4 in the House. Governor 39% vetoed it. And then introduced a piece of legislation that was more damaging than what the original TTC could have ever been, because it contained some things that are going to permanently damage the traveling public in the state of Texas. Now, luckily, we had 19 courageous people in the House that stood up, that listened to what was being said, that analyzed the bill and voted against the bill. And those 19 people, and I don't mean to be prejudiced, because some were Republicans, some were Democrat. You know, I'm a Democrat, but this doesn't matter. This is not a D or R problem. This is a Texas problem. And until we just understand that and can all come together on both sides, we're going to continue to have an uphill battle to fight. But I think we're getting there. But we had 19 state reps that stood up and said SB 792 is not good for Texas. And those 19 got our invite to come speak today. Regrettably, a lot of them had other commitments, but one is here right now, and there will be a couple others later, I think. And I want to introduce him and let him speak to you. His name is David Leibowitz. He's from San Antonio, and he's on our side, people.
Good afternoon. My name is David Leibowitz. I'm from San Antonio. I want to just spend a few very brief minutes with you, if I may, regarding the subject that we're here to discuss today. I want to apologize in advance. About 30 minutes ago, I made the mistake of taking some allergy medicine, so hopefully I'll be able to put 2 intelligent sentences together. If you were standing where I'm standing right now, I see a sea of faces. And you folks, you came here from Brownsville, you came here from Amarillo, from El Paso, Houston, Beaumont, Laredo, San Antonio, all across this great state. You've come here for a common cause. We've come from farms, we've come from ranches, we've come from small towns, we've come from big cities, and we're here pursuing a common cause. And that cause is just and it's worthy. And the question is, why are we here today? And the first answer to the question is that our government is not working for us. The folks that are in charge of our government have decided to run their own agenda, their own thing. That's got to change. We've got to go to the ballot box. We've got to take our friends, our neighbors, our cousins, our aunts, our uncles, the folks we go to church with, the folks we play bingo with, that we bowl with, all the folks that we know, we have to encourage them. We've got to get to the ballot boxes and kick these folks out. Another reason we're here today is because some very powerful interests have decided that they want to build a superhighway from Lázaro Cárdenas, which is the deep water port on the Pacific coast of Mexico, and build that superhighway all the way up through to Laredo and all the way of our beloved Texas. And we're here to tell them that we're not going to stand for it. That's not going to happen. Now we may be wondering, how did we end up in this mess to begin with? Historically, what happened was that since 1956, for 52 straight years, we in Texas have been sending more money from our gasoline tax to Washington, D.C. than has come back to Texas. For 52 straight years, 52 years in a row. That's got to change. We've got to fix that. We've got to tell them we won't stand for it anymore. Now, with respect to NAFTA, I know that we have different opinions on NAFTA, and we'll leave the discussion regarding NAFTA to another day. However, is that a black helicopter? I don't know.
Today's